and OLAP database. We call database to both, like we give name to database to both, and the reality is something different. Let me start. Okay. First of all, give us the full forms of OLTP and OLAP because we do not know anything. Okay. So for that, I would say OLTP is online transactional processing, correct? And this is online analytical processing.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a house, anywhere from Durham to the Corthas to Kingston and anywhere in between, here's how to get.
Perfect. Okay. We understood the full form. Now what is this? First of all, just focus on the left part. This part, OLTP. Just forget about the OLAP for now. Just give me a few minutes. I will just explain each and everything. For OLTP, so far we have discussed that our source, let's say this is our source, a SQL database. This is managed by whom? Managed by DBAs. Now let's say DBAs. This is managed by DBAs. What they do, let me just draw it again. So I hope you have just noted down the different things. So now it's time to just give you this demonstration. That's why I removed everything. So, now let's say DBAs. This is managed by DBAs. So what they do, they let me just draw it again. What they do. So what they do, they just draw it again. So I hope you have just noted down the different things. So now it's time to just give you this demonstration. That's why I removed. So let's say they have these sources in maybe a website, maybe their web page, maybe their OTT platform, everything. So they just use this whole data and they just write it somewhere. Where? In that database. This database? Yes, in this database. When they write this data to this database, this one, this is called OLTP database. This is called OLTP database. So why do we use word transaction? The thing is, we write data which is in the transactional format, which means like we need to store. Let's suppose you are just using the backend information or like backend application. We need to write all those transactions one by one, right? So that's why we call it as transactional database because we are putting transactional information. So whenever we design OLTP database, we say that we need a database which is very much efficient for updates, which is very much efficient for updates and updates. Because we will be storing data in chunks, in smaller quantity. Yes, let's say 10 users just click right now. So now 10 users will be added into this database. This is called OLTP database, and that's why we say we need high write performance, high update performance. So this was all about FTP. This was all about. Let me give you a previous topic that we discussed. So this is your data source. 1, 2, 3, and this will be stored in this database. FTP and what we just discussed, and efficient for writes and updates. Simple. It's time to discuss some popular OLTP databases that we use. So in most scenarios, we use relational databases, and the ones that are popular are PostgreSQL, MySQL, or you can say MS SQL Server, Oracle databases. So all of these are efficient for transactional databases where we need to store transactional data for writes, updates. Yes. So this was all about OLTP database. So now one question I want to ask, and knowledge as well. One thing, who will be managing OLTP databases then? DBAs. You will not be managing OLTP databases. You will treat OLTP database as your source, because this is a source for you. OLTP database is just a source for you. if DB manages it, how he manages it? So he uses a concept called okay. Now the modeling that we use in DB is also known as relational database modeling, and very which technique we do use while modeling our data. It's called it's called normalization. Yes. I know. Now you are relating your things where related data things with data engineering. So this is normalization. Here we have first normal form, let's say 1NF. We have second normal form. We have third normal form. Actually, we have 6 to 7, but till 3 we follow. That's very critical, or you can say it becomes very difficult to manage those 6 normal forms. It is easy and it is recommended to normal form till third level, like third level. So this was all about OLTP databases. I think now you understood the concept. Being a data engineer, we do not need to know much about OLTP databases. This part is because you will not be responsible to create one normal form. DBS will be doing it. So what we will do, you have something else. You have OLAP databases. Now, I just mentioned this. Online analytical processing. First of all, and I was so confused printing this. OLAP databases is also known as, if you know this coming now, it's also known as data warehouse. When we talk about OLAP database, we are referring warehouses, data warehouse. Now, what is a data warehouse? Basically, it is a kind of database, obviously. We as a data engineer try to make it efficient enough for reads. Why? Why? Because in RLT we discussed that it is for write and reads. But in OLAP you are saying, bro, just for reads. Why? No means not like I'm not just teaching my it's like just combination of like combination means like why do we read faster reads? Okay. Should I just clean it first? You have just taken the notes and guys. Okay, this is your productivity database. DBA will be taking care of it. Hey DBA, just take care of it and just maintain it healthy. I'm just kidding. Don't use these words, bro. I told you that you need to build strong relationship with both the streams, upstream and downstream. So this is your OLTP database. Now, I mentioned this. We have so much of data coming. We have data coming from website. We have data coming from entities. We have data coming from some other entity. So all this data is being stored. And yes, these are being stored individually. Imagine the size of the data it is carrying now. It's huge. Because it is being stored every millisecond. Now, you need to query this. Can you query this heavy data set? No. It's so difficult to pull this data to your reports. You cannot pull this heavy data. No, you cannot. Your report will be like dying to read this much of data. So how do we do that? We create something called OLAP database. We create data warehouse which is efficient for reads because our reports means our organization reports will be referring our data warehouse instead of theirs. So instead of, so this is my report. Let's say this is my report. So instead of querying this database, which is so heavy, it will query this one. So we have to make our data warehouse in such a way that it can handle high query reads, like start querying large amount of data. That's why we have created data warehouse, which will handle high reads. Yes, which will be handling high reads. So we need to model our data in a different way. We cannot use normalization.